Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Leo Zagami Show with Leo and Christy. Saturday, October 5th of the year of the Lord 2024. We saw Trump going back to Butler in this end times unusual kind of situation. It's really an important moment, and I followed the whole thing, and it actually finished a few minutes ago after a musical moment, because he kind of extended his final salute after he danced YMCA. He was very much in the dancing mode today, so it was a lot of dancing, and then he had this Italian-American singer delivering some great classics, and of course, God Bless America, Nessun Dorma amongst them. So it was a great final, and I must tell you guys, it was really packed with people. So we will be talking about that and much more, of course. And
he made it through the whole thing without anybody trying to assassinate him. So.
No, well, but he had a completely different kind of setup, a reinforced security protection. We will be discussing that too. Welcome to the Leo Zagami Show. Christy, who are the sponsors of today's show?
We have David R. Kammer, Malgorizada Minza, and Bruce Kodish.
Okay, thank you. Thank
you. We need donations and sponsors because it's a new month and we have not a lot right now. So we're really grateful for the donations that we've received, but the bills are really high with this air conditioning. Today it was it's actually 115 in the shade right now in Palm Springs, and we have to keep it really cool in here, not just for us, but mostly for the computers. So right now it's really cold because we have old computers and our computers are acting up. And so if we don't get support, we're not going to have a computer. We're not going to have anything. So please, guys, just show us that you care.
Absolutely. But also thank you to all those people who in the past week have bought this book, Volume 11, which is still on sale at $15.99. Thanks to you, because
it was a great week.
The more you buy it, and of course we can, at that point, if you buy it, keep the price low.
Yeah.
So I maintain my promise, and I will keep for another week this book at $15.99, Volume 11.
Thank you guys for buying it. You guys are so great. Thank you.
And it's a book that touches on the topic of today, as you can see, because Thomas Crooks was of course a Manchurian candidate of sorts, and we will be discussing, I guess, and mentioning that during today's show as we go back in Butler, Pennsylvania. And we have, of course, a lot more news, because in this end time scenario, there is more ominous warnings from Russia and Vladimir Putin, as well as a really out of control situation in the Middle East. So it is a truly end time situation.
I like your shirt.
Yes, fine. I mean,
I got on that shirt.
So let's see how many people were there, just to give you an idea of the queues. I mean, it was incredible, the amount of people that were present in Butler, Pennsylvania today to see Donald J. Trump. This is just an overview of the crowd. All great Americans, and this was a very special event. But let me show you also the queues, because people queued for hours and hours to have a glimpse of their hero, Donald J. Trump. So let's see for a moment here also another important moment. President Trump greeting Cory Comperatore's family that went to see, of course, Trump today in Butler, Pennsylvania. a great hero, a great American hero. L'imperatore was, of course, the victim that unfortunately lost his life while he was simply going to support his political hero. There was also the presence of many people there, Butler, many politicians. Also, we had Elon Musk. We will be viewing the whole thing. But first of all, the thousands of people who patiently lined up to see Donald J. Trump today. It's a never-ending curiosity. Check out.
Wow, that's great. It must be great to be around like-minded people, like that many like-minded people. We don't know what that's like.
Well,
we're an oddity.
We are behind enemy lines. We are in
For
Palm
real.
Springs, for real. Here it's like...
we're 100% underground.
They have even closed the Republican headquarters here in Palm Springs. So it's like the whole Palm Springs has been taken over by a LGBTQ friendly, not only mayor, but the whole board of advisors and everything else. It's just like this town has turned into something else from the good old days of Frank Sinatra, that's for sure. As you can see, it's never ending, this queue. Never ending. Yeah. This goes on and on and on and on. It's like, you never see the end of it. Imagine queuing like this for us. You must really be a great supporter and have a lot of patience, because I mean it's going to take you hours and hours. I don't want to be
on the end of that line. Gosh, it's really long.
And in contrast with this, I'm going to show you instead the very few people that participated, because we know Kamala was bringing these buses around with people, but once she was exposed and the buses are no longer there, well, she seems to have some problems in gathering an audience, especially in Michigan. That's quite surprising, because in Michigan, you will expect something different. I mean, Michigan is a stronghold of the Democrats. There is that awful governor.
Gretchen?
Oh, God, I hate it. It's like terrible. But let me show you for a moment this moment of Kamala Harris that seems to not have a clue of, I mean, she is there in her position, mumbling like Joe Biden, who, by the way, was back in the White House talking next to Karine Jean-Pierre for the first time. And this was reputed as a big event for the Democrats. Finally, they could see Joe Biden talking. So before going to actually analyze Kamala in her attempt to try to challenge Trump with speeches that don't go anywhere, we should actually see what happened with Joe Biden. Because Joe Biden is somebody who at the moment is supposed to be the president of the United States of America, but it's kind of like a little bit embarrassing because he's getting older and older and more senile by the minute. But the most crazy thing was today, during Trump's very long speech, he was very honest when he presented Elon. He said, listen, Elon, I didn't know what Starlink was. Now, you know, if you're a young person, you know Starlink is all these satellites that have been launched here in California. We saw them constantly going up into the heavens, well, around the Earth, because it created this grid of satellites. And of course, with the situation being so bad with the victims of this hurricane, and the government almost doing nothing because they spend all their money on other things like the immigrants or delivering money to foreign countries like Ukraine or now recently also more money going, I don't know, to Lebanon, I don't know where. But I mean, money for the American people, well, that's a problem, it seems, for this administration. But like I said, Biden had the courage to say that he actually helped out with Starlink himself. I mean, it was actually Trump who called Elon Musk and asked him a favor, and he was in front of him there. He couldn't be lying, because this was actually stated in front of thousands of people in Butler, Pennsylvania. But look at the twisted version of the events of Joe Biden.
Hello.
Ever so confused and sent out Joe Biden.
We'll give you a thumbs up when to start.
In the crisis room. Hurricane Helen.
Mr. President, thank you for being in North Carolina today. As you saw firsthand, North Carolina has been hit hard. Countless homes and businesses that are lost. An entire region of our state is still in a dangerous situation.
You know, that's why even before the storm hit, I directed the entire federal government to use every possible resource to help communities across the nation, across the region get ready, all the costs. We've, with the FEMA director and I, have flown over more forest that's been taken down to the ground because of fires and a whole range of other reasons. Watching homes, you can see homes that are removed from, I mean, that's, you look down, that's what you see as we flew over and circled in a helicopter. I've also directed the development of Starlink, deployment of Starlink satellites. 50 are in place right now, more are going to be put in place so people in places like Canton can call for help and reach the ones that loved ones who they're not sure with anybody other than that phone because there's no cell service. And they're literally knocking on doors.
At this time, sir, I believe we'll transition to a deeper dive brief from our colleagues. We'll pause briefly at this time.
Well, it's really, I mean, I repeat, if it wasn't for Trump calling Elon, asking him to actually provide the Starlink service, and Trump was very honest. I mean, he's a guy of a certain age. He doesn't really know all these things can be done with satellites and transmissions directly to Earth. I mean, Starlink has hundreds of satellites, a real grid around the planet Earth. So he's already been used in Ukraine and in other parts of the world in moments of crisis. He has opened up the internet where there was also censorship. But I mean, Trump said it. He was on the phone with Elon, and he actually said, "Elon, how did you do it? Because by the time I ended up the call, they were already calling me, telling me that you activate the service." So it was like he was doing it in real time. Now, I've been always fairly critical of Elon Musk, but if you are helping people in need, I'm always for it. But the fact that Joe Biden claims he had something to do with it when he had nothing to do with it, well, that is really something that kind of, I mean, come on.
It's pretty
like
believable. I mean, it's like you believe it because he lies about everything.
He lies about a lot of things.
But Kamala probably lies more. So.
Kamala,
it might be his real reality because he's living in another reality, another dimension or something. So maybe. That might be his reality. I mean, but Kamala is really evil.
Kamala is totally evil. Kamala is not only evil, but her husband also is evil, because this week we had this whole thing that came out with the husband who apparently has been accused of slapping a former girlfriend in 2012 while he was at the Cannes Film Festival. There is evidence that this went on. This scandal was brought up by an investigative journalist from the Daily Mail. It was then confirmed because he has documents to support all this. But the interesting thing was that the media are completely silent about it. They are completely silent. I mean, even the conservative media are not really talking much.
Why?
The first gentleman, the possible first gentleman, because at the moment he's married with the vice president, he could become the first gentleman, attacked this woman. Now, the Daily Mail has already brought a scoop out this year regarding the nanny that the first gentleman, or the potential first gentleman, let's call him, the husband of Kamala Harris, he impregnated the nanny back in the days, before he was with Kamala. He made pregnant the nanny. And
Sounds like a great guy.
Well, but imagine this, he slapped so strongly this woman. They don't give a name for this woman, they call her Jane, like a Jane Doe, but she was slapped so hard that she turned on herself. Now, no media talk, there is not much talk about it, but on C-SPAN, a viewer asked about it to, he said, why are you not discussing this? And the journalist actually had to admit that there was this whole scandal that at the moment, like I said, is coming out, but it's not really being discussed because it's ruining the image of somebody who is presenting himself like, this docile man, next to his wife, the strong woman. Toxic, he's toxic masculinity even.
Have this the topic every morning. The first thing you guys talk about is usually supposed to be the top story, but today was all about Trump. That's all we hear about, Trump and how bad Trump is. So what I wanted to ask is, are you going to talk about the what they're calling the first gentleman, Doug Emhoff, what they exposing him for his he got a nanny pregnant or something like that.
I think you might be referring to the Daily Mail story, and it's gotten coverage as well. This from page 2 of the Washington Times. Second gentleman Doug Emhoff, the husband of Vice President Kamala Harris, allegedly assaulted his then-girlfriend during a trip to France over a decade ago, according to, as the Washington Times describes it, a bombshell report in the Daily Mail. The ex-girlfriend, a New Jersey attorney whom the Daily Mail referred to as simply Jane, provided travel documents to prove that she and Emhoff spent time together at the location during the alleged incident. One of the sources told the Daily Mail that Jane recounted the alleged violence to her 4 years later when then-Senator Kamala Harris grilled Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh in a Senate confirmation hearing related to sexual assault accusations. The story there in the Washington Times, it was the Daily Mail with the original reporting.
So this Daily Mail original reporting not really being in any way mentioned by the mainstream news and hardly mentioned by the conservative media. It's rather a big story because this Douglas Emhoff seems to be a pretty vile man who slapped his ex-girlfriend only because he was flirting with another man. We know that this Jane, after left immediately Douglas after this experience, because
Good for her.
He actually went back to him the day after and slapped him 2 times.
Good for her.
And then after that,
would.
he left him. She left him. So
Yeah.
we want to show you before we go into. We want to, of course, send the regards to our viewers who are in the areas which have been touched by this dramatic event, this hurricane that has really reached, if not even surpassed, what happened with Hurricane Katrina. I mean, we're talking about, at least at the moment, over 200 deaths. There might be more because we have also areas which are not reachable. So we want to send
have somebody in
regards.
our chat that's from Asheville. So we send our love and our prayers for you, Annie, and everybody who's been affected by the terrible hurricane. I'm really sorry that it hit Asheville. It was such a surprise to hear, because usually it was the other side that got, when I was living there in North Carolina, Jacksonville got it. So I'm really sorry that you're going through that, and you're here, so you have you got God, and God will always give you support and give you what you need to go on. So
well, a lot of problems are created at the moment, even on the ground by the Biden administration, for people who actually want to reach the areas. Buttigieg at one point has prohibited drones to fly over the disaster areas. He got a backlash for this hideous decision. But these people are really,
you don't think this is weather wars, do you?
Well, that is what Major Taylor Greene said. But immediately after she said it, because it's Major Taylor Greene, and she's kind of prone to follow conspiracy theories, she was immediately attacked. Now, it's not a remote possibility. The technology is actually there. These areas that are affected, coincidentally, are Republican.
Oh,
so I mean, it's
I was wondering about that.
But I mean, when you have this,
how evil, if that's true.
that would be really evil. Absolutely, that would be immensely evil. But it could also happen. Now we know that Kamala Harris, like I said earlier, was in Michigan, and she definitely didn't have the crowd of Donald J. Trump. Check out what kind of, really, if you compare the latest rally of Kamala Harris with what we have seen today in Butler, Pennsylvania, she shouldn't win. Absolutely.
I'm not starting yet. It's for the press. Check 1.
There's nobody.
My honor to introduce the next president of the United States, Kamala Harris.
And then freedom of what? She's completely the opposite of freedom. She wants censorship, and she will probably eliminate both the First and Second Amendment if
Lots of
we
people
let
believe her. Lots of people that don't like the way things are on the other side believe it. So you guys are just
those are the people. There is people who actually criticize how things are going now, and at the same time they want to actually vote for Kamala.
They want change.
They want change, but there is no change with Kamala. Kamala's been there with Joe Biden, and Joe Biden, in his rare, speaking in front of the press, something that he never did. It's quite rare finding Biden going there next to Karine Jean-Pierre actually never happened, because we used to have J. Trump going in front of the press all the time, every day during the moments of crisis, also during the pandemic. Biden has done it maybe once, I don't know, I think once, but this was the second time, and it didn't really go that well.
Hey, folks. My name's Joe Biden.
Welcome, Mr. President.
We've been waiting for you.
Welcome to the swimming pool.
Welcome to the swimming pool. I mean, there is people who have been drowning, who have been affected by this hurricane. There is an emergency situation in the Middle East. There is war against Russia with Putin basically telling us in the last few days that they are changing the nuclear policies because the situation demands it. And he is even joking, like nothing is happening. It's just, here we have Biden. Like I said, Biden comes out for the first time in a long time, if ever. I never remember him taking questions from the press. Let's see how it goes.
Although the strength of the American economy it's about the strength of the American economy. We put forward weren't going to work, make things worse. You know, we've told our American, we were told our American, we were told it wasn't going to be, we were told, and every month, in fact, that Vice President Harris and I have been in office, we've created jobs every single month.
So here he ties himself to Kamala. He says he has actually made the situation better, provided jobs, complete lie, of course.
The nation has now created 16 million jobs since I've come to office, more jobs created in a single presidential term than any time in American history.
Simply because those were the jobs that unfortunately were lost during the initial phase of the pandemic, most of them.
Keep getting prices down. It saved the taxpayers billions of dollars.
Prices down. I mean, you go out, where are the prices down?
I haven't seen anything.
I
They
know.
keep saying that
Yeah, you
the
were saying
economy
that-
is better, but I don't.
I know, you were saying there was a parallel reality. He's definitely living in a parallel reality.
Yeah.
Some
Totally.
kind of
But a lot of them are. I think they all are living in some satanic.
Billions of dollars. Save the taxpayers billions of dollars.
Saving the taxpayers billions of dollars. Whoa.
And but we've got more work to do. We've got more work to do to deal with the things I've just mentioned.
Got to lose.
I gotta go, kid.
I know. He's sorry.
Now, I've got to go, honey. Is that a normal thing that the president should say to the head of the press office?
I don't know, Marie.
Yeah, I mean,
I said I'd take a couple of questions.
All right, you're the last.
I think she's increasing her credibility.
You have to take some more. Toulouse, you're going to be the last one.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for spending some time here with us. There have obviously been a number of crises that the country has been facing over the past several days, with the hurricane, with the port strike, with the situation in the Middle East. Can you talk about how your vice president, who is running for the presidency, has worked on these crises and what role she has played over the past several days?
Well, I'm in constant contact with her. She's aware we're singing from the same song sheet.
that's very important because that's an honest admission. We are singing from the same song. Of course, the people who have written this song is probably the Obamas. The one who has produced this song are the Soros, Alexander and George Soros, the executive producers of this song. But it's always the same song. So if you vote for Kamala, you are getting, he's saying it, from the same song. So you're not going to get anything new. I mean, people must be, that's why we said it last week. And, I thought that show will go better. People, unfortunately, didn't really, I think, understand it fully, the show of last week. But basically, my question is this. Is America so dumb to vote for Kamala? Because if that's the case, it means they have been completely brainwashed. And I've explained how in 2012 the cognitive warfare reached a new level, new psychological warfare level, because the Smith-Mundt Reformation Act of 2012 gives the possibility for the first time since 1948 to implement psyops on the American people. In this book, I explain how cognitive warfare works on the contrary of psychological warfare, which was simply propaganda through radio, TV. Maybe you place a couple of spokes in CNN, a couple in NBC. With cognitive warfare, they get into your data centers, they said, into your Facebook account, into everything that you have ever done, and then they can reach you through.
They reach you with
the use of algorithms and AI, which is ever so popular.
Even if you don't have social media, they reach you.
They listen to you the moment you watch Roku. You have a mic open. You watch anything. You have Siri. You have Alexa. They can now do cognitive warfare. They have a command center, like I explained in this book, in Norfolk, Virginia. It's a long story. It starts in 2002 in France. In fact, the officers who command this NATO Innovation Hub are actually French, because they are specialized in this kind of mind control. And so this is what is happening here. But let's move forward with more Joe Biden in front of the press. What a disaster.
Passed all the laws that are being employed now. She was a major player in everything we've done, including passage of legislation which we were told we could never pass. And so she's been,
So he's talking about Kamala, saying, she's done this, she has done that. She's basically part of our administration. Nothing is going to change then if you vote for Kamala. Do you want to get that? Folks, who votes for Kamala? Votes for Kamala because he's been brainwashed. He's been brainwashed in the university. He's been brainwashed by social media. He's been brainwashed by the mainstream media. He's just brainwashed because if you have a glimpse in reality, then you cannot vote for Kamala.
Her staff is interlocked with mine in terms of all the things we're doing.
All right, go ahead. Yeah, Nandita, sir, no, sir, I didn't call on you, sir. To you, in terms of Israel's response, how long are you okay with Israel bombing Lebanon? What is acceptable to you? All right, guys, that's it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
He didn't answer.
Oh my God.
He didn't answer. It just goes away. I mean, this is really important, but he doesn't answer.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
On Ukraine, have you made a decision on long-range weapons?
Do you want to reconsider dropping out of the race?
I'm back in.
What made you want to come here today, Mr. President?
All right, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Please come back. Thank you. Green, can we do that again? Yeah.
No. You heard. I was already told that.
So that's why we were late.
I mean,
she's the liar in chief. I mean, she's really total liar in chief. The mainstream media, and in particular MSDNC or MSNBC or however you want to call it, that channel, of course, it's a creation of the worst conglomerate ever, has put together their own version of the events. When it comes down to Biden, and Biden, you have seen, was pretty, how can you say, I mean, embarrassing, but not for the people of MSNBC. No. For him, for the people of MSNBC, they claim that Bidenomics, everything else is great. And look what they say about this talk by Biden, unprecedented talk next to Karine Jean-Pierre, asking the audience to really take him seriously. It must be a challenge, even for Karine Jean-Pierre, who was next to him. But check out MSNBC. I mean, these people.
I don't want to say this is Joe Biden unleashed, but this was Joe
Biden unleashed.
Joe
Biden
Biden a little more relaxed, a little more freed of the constraints of being
free of the constraints. I mean, if he talked a little bit too much, I think Karine Jean-Pierre probably beat him up.
Candidate. Perhaps that's the better way to put it. Because as Leon Panetta had just pointed out, he said it like it was.
Leon Panetta, what a CA stooge.
He answered some tough questions pretty bluntly.
Yes, and this is something I have noticed, and you put your finger on it, Chris. The president being president and not having to be a candidate for re-election is free. He is free to
free of what?
Free ice cream.
say what he thinks.
Children and torture
and sniff them.
Oh, sniff children.
Sniff the children. Yeah,
free to say what he thinks and how he feels about things. You know, speaking within the constraints of national security or not wanting to.
Now, speaking within the constraints of national security, because he didn't really answer the question about Israel. So here we have the explanation by MSNBC why he didn't listen.
Mess up any kind of negotiations that might
not mess up any kind of, so he couldn't answer. Well, of course,
might be happening behind the scenes that we don't know about and can't know about, and he won't tell us about. But this is the Joe Biden that I think a lot of people wanted to see when he was a candidate. But I think I can't remember the
Joe Biden you want to see.
Last time, Chris, President Biden went to the briefing room.
Never.
When the president, I mean, you've covered the
White House.
White House.
When was the last time? He said never. Did he ever go to the briefing room before this? I don't think so. Maybe he never went.
You know, when the president goes into the briefing room, it's something big. It's
Trump used to go there all the time. All the
rare.
Well, thank you very much.
Here we have Trump.
And good afternoon. Thank you very much.
It's another time, always Trump.
And if you'd like, we'll take
this is another time,
okay,
Trump.
Questions, please.
You take questions, no problem.
Thank you very much.
Another time. Trump was there every day, basically, during the pandemic at one point.
And the fact that he was there.
When Barack Obama walked in, you sat up a little straighter. I'll tell you that much.
They're saying that Barack Obama was the one who went there. Wow. Ooh.
I was there, and they've never seen this. This press corps covering Joe Biden has never seen him walk in unannounced to the press briefing room.
What do you mean? Trump was doing it all the time. Liars.
Make comments and take questions.
They try to put the words in your head, so they'll say it and they'll try to tell you what you're thinking, but everybody's thinking something else. So.
Although, as you well know, that American flag, if I remember.
The American flag was there when Trump was there. Guys, don't make things up. The American flag wasn't there. The American flag has always been present in the briefing room. Always.
Remember right. It's never there. It only appears.
It was there.
When the president is coming out. So that should have been a clue to the folks in the briefing room that the president was going to come in.
Good afternoon, everyone.
It's always there.
Good afternoon. I'm going to be really quick here. All right. Good afternoon, everyone.
That's what I was saying.
Hi, everybody.
Not just through his press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, but to
Karine Jean-Pierre is a typical. I mean, she's like. I think she put Biden under a spell. We know that Jill Biden takes control of the situation these days, and she's in charge. But Karine Jean-Pierre, I think, has put some kind of voodoo spell on her because she is typical Haitian, Karine Jean-Pierre. I mean, I'm sure that.
Is that where she's from?
With a name like Karine Jean-Pierre.
Well, you don't know. She could be from.
I think Karine Jean-Pierre is from Haiti. I mean, let's make a lie. Let's make a fact check in lifetime.
Right.
Karine Jean-Pierre. Okay, Karine
Maybe she's from
Jean-Pierre.
Louisiana.
Haiti. Well, but originally from Haiti.
She's from Queens.
No. Tell me, she's from daughter of Haitian immigrants.
Oh my God, you were right. You're always right. I hate that. You're always right.
I'm sorry. Guys, Karine Jean-Pierre is keep your dogs and your cats away from Karine Jean-Pierre.
Well, there was some Queens, New York in there. I don't like Queens because my cousin lives there.
What she is? Daughter of Haitian immigrants. She's typical voodoo rays shine on Karine Jean-Pierre.
You always on time. I could call myself.
Laugh.
Himself, just I think is a signal by how good the White House feels, and in particular, how good the president feels about this.
He said more jobs, GDP growth high, unemployment low, wages high, interest rates lower, stock market high. He ticked through the whole thing, and I kept thinking, Kamala Harris is in Detroit right now. You could have done a split screen of the two of them, because his arguments in many ways.
I think they should do a split screen of Kamala in Detroit and Trump in Butler, and it would be like, I mean, I would like to remind the people that today Trump was back in Butler, and this was the crowd, just so you can have an idea. Kamala, you can only dream of getting a crowd like that.
Right, are her arguments. Mm-hmm. Yes, he believes he's been a better president than maybe he's gotten credit for, but that the economic numbers are everything to Kamala Harris.
It wasn't.
So let's move forward with yet more news. This week, there was, of course, the unleashing of yet more attacks on Lebanese soil, a special operation conducted by the IDF. There was more commanders of Hamas killed, and Hezbollah was a commander of Hamas killed, and also Hezbollah command center destroyed. So I mean, here, both in the north and in the south, the IDF is definitely inflicting some heavy damages on the proxy mercenaries of Iran. And Iran is not very happy about it. In fact, Iran's supreme leader, Khamenei, the successor of Khomeini, he showed up with a gun next to him for reciting after 4 years the prayer, on a Friday. The supreme leader recited the prayers, and also, of course, the threats against Israel, because that's obvious. There's a lot of threats.
It is an Islamic ruling and a logical law, and also an international and global logic. Palestinians are defending their land. Their defense is legitimate, and helping them is also legitimate. The brilliant action of our armed forces in the attack on Israel 2 or 3 nights ago was a completely legal and legitimate operation. This reality shows us that any strike on this regime by any person or movement is a service to the entire region, if not all of humanity.
Oh, what a peaceful individual. What a religion of peace. Now, if you want to understand all the dynamics behind this gentleman and what he's doing, Volume 10 of my confession, guys. This book is important. This book is so important because it's the first book about Islamic Freemasonry and the secret societies behind the eternal conflict.
I found it, I don't like that masonry stuff and all that. It's pretty boring to me. But I found that book fascinating from front to back. So as soon as I read it, and then that one about the American part, I didn't like that part.
Part again in 9/11,
Yeah.
Which, by the way, then follows up in the following book, Volume 11, because there is also a psychological aspect of
That is really interesting. This book is so. I mean,
guys. This
it's
book
just like
for the
really-
moment still $15.99.
It's a very contemporary book with what's happening right now.
And thanks to you buying this book, I'm able to keep the price down because I can make a minimum profit and being happy. Last week, you supported this book. This is the past, present, and future of mind control. And talking about Butler, Pennsylvania, as you can see, Thomas Crooks, whose body was cremated mysteriously on the 23rd of July. Please.
So, if you guys can't afford to buy all of Leo's books, just buy this one, because at least then you can understand what's going on right now with everyone. It's relevant to all of us. We can all relate to what is happening right now. We can see it every single day. And I know you guys are really smart.
And watch me.
Mind control. But you guys are really smart. I know that because you're here. But maybe there's some people in your family that's not so smart, and maybe if you give them a book like this, even for Christmas, if you can't do it right now,
nice.
Or like a Black Friday or something, I don't know, but it would really help your family. So that's what I have to say, because so many people are so in the dark right now, and it would be so great if this light that he's shedding on the world would be spread to everyone so that everyone could have understanding. And we all know that with God, you have understanding. There's no confusion. There's no chaos. And I know, because I always try to keep God close to me inside of my heart every single day, from the time I wake up until the time I go to bed. That is the best place to be. God doesn't play tricks, and you can trust God. So that's what I got to say.
Now, guys, we're approaching part 2 of this show, which will include material which we can't broadcast in part 1 because of the limitation of the censorship that still is prevailing on Facebook and YouTube. So, but before going there, let me show you what. Well, maybe I have to keep it for part 2. I'm afraid they will censor us.
Oh no!
Yes, I'm afraid they will censor us. But in the meantime, in part 1, I can show you Julian Assange, who made his first statement in front of the European Parliament since his release from prison. And I tell you, I was profoundly disappointed, because this guy has always had some left-leaning tendencies. I mean, the guy, his main source ended up becoming a woman in jail. Chelsea Manning.
Camilla supports him. Camilla in Italy.
I don't know. I mean, there is people who support him. But it was really disappointing to see in front of the European Parliament talking badly about the Trump administration when there was Hillary Clinton who wanted to send a drone to kill him when he was in that embassy, locked in that embassy. So I mean,
you got the wrong people.
But check out this statement.
Justice Department chose not to indict me, recognizing...
Listen, Julian, with all the respect, President Obama didn't indict you, but Hillary Clinton wanted to kill you with a drone, and she was the Secretary of State of Obama at the time. So I don't know why is this guy not talking about Hillary Clinton and the drone strike on Assange? Because this is becoming, can't we just drone Assange? This is what Clinton asked. It's not a conspiracy theory, it's a proven fact. And you instead decide to focus, as you will see, on Donald J. Trump, on the Trump administration, on two people that, by the way, Trump is no longer working with, but U.S. presidential candidate Hillary Clinton reported inquiry if the U.S. could drone WikiLeaks funded Julian Assange in a meeting when she was the Secretary of State. I really think that Julian Assange is playing a very dirty game. And I'm sorry that a lot of people have fallen for it.
Crime had been committed. The United States had never before prosecuted a publisher for publishing or obtaining government information. To do so would require a radical an ominous reinterpretation of the US Constitution. In January 2017, Obama also commuted the sentence of Manning, who had been convicted of being one of my sources. However, in February 2017, the landscape changed dramatically. President Trump had been elected. He appointed two wolves in MAGA hats, Mike Pompeo, a Kansas...
So he goes in front of the European Parliament, two wolves in MAGA hats.
How could he say this?
I mean, this guy...
He needs to go back to jail.
Congressman and former arms industry executive as CIA director, and William Barr, a former CIA officer, as U.S. Attorney General.
Now we both know that both Mike Pompeo and William Barr ended up being two swamp creatures, and Trump has since then rejected them. Yeah. So to actually state they were wolves in MAGA hats when they were just, it's just, I mean, I think Julian Assange needs to remember, once again, I would like to remember to him, Hillary Clinton.
Remind him.
Remind him. What did I say?
Remember him.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So Hillary wanted to kill him, but then he decides to talk bad about MAGA hats in wolves in sheep's clothes.
By March 2017, WikiLeaks had exposed the CIA's infiltration of French political parties, its spying on French and German leaders, its spying on the European Central Bank, European economics ministries, and its standing orders to spy on French industry as a whole. We revealed the CIA's vast production of malware and viruses, its subversion of supply chains, its subversion of antivirus software.
Listen, you were basically arrested, let me tell you, during the Obama era, and now you are getting an applause from the most technocratic bunch of assholes in the world who wanted to arrest me and censor me. I'm talking about the European Union, and I'm glad to say I'm no longer European. I'm no longer Italian, and I've renounced to that hideous hellhole. And they instead watch the applause the European Parliament gives to Julian Assange, this communist.
Thank you.
Find excuses about torture in jail or mind control, because at this point somebody could actually say that Julian Assange has been mind controlled. But this guy was actually in a sect linked to MK Ultra in the 70s and to MK Ultra techniques. Let's not forget, Julian Assange was part of this sect. That's why he dyes his hair in that way. They were all blonde and they were all in Australia, this brainwashed group of people.
He dyes his hair?
Yeah, of course. It was part of
what
this.
What is this blonde sect?
It was this.
I'm not part of it.
No, but it wasn't really blonde. Kind of white sect. Let's see if I can find it. The name now I forgot. The family, also known as the Santinecan Park Association, Great White Brotherhood, Australian cult. This
I
one.
heard about this Great White Brotherhood thing.
And the mother of Julian Assange ended up getting together with one of the members, and then he became part of it. So, and this cult that imprisoning and brainwashing children in the 70s and 80s probably damaged very much the mind of a young Julian Assange. But we can't justify him. He has made a choice, and his choice is to side with the enemy. Let's never forget that. He had to even admit during this conference that he can't really say everything, because he made a deal with the Americans in order to be released. So he's not really free to tell you everything.
That's really messed up when they take your name and you can't use it.
Well, that's happening with Alex Jones instead.
What a pity.
We're going to be discussing next week what is happening with Alex Jones, because, of course, as you know, in the last few hours now, he has brought up the fact they want to even take control of his name. Now, this will not be the first time this happens within the conspiracy world. Jordan Maxwell, the late Jordan Maxwell.
Yeah, we knew him. Well, he knew him. I didn't know him.
Who was a friend of, and one of the people that I like to remember in volume 7 of my Confessions, which is a very important book if you want to know more about the occult side of the Great Reset of Klaus Schwab, which is manifesting, guys. It's definitely manifesting in front of our eyes. Well, Jordan Max at one point ended up losing his name. He couldn't use his name. He had, unfortunately, been sued for his involvement with these people who were having this website promoting sovereignty and all that, and issuing fake car licenses and stuff like that. In the end, he lost, and he lost his name. So this is not the first. I mean, this with Alex Jones, what's happening with Alex Jones, and the possibility that he will lose his own name, aside from InfoWars that he might already lose from the 18th of October. Now, we are still broadcasting on Band.of video, and we ask you to follow us next week, because, of course, we're going to be talking maybe for the last time on Band.of video. But it's important, guys. It's very important to understand. They like to take people's names when those names mean something. And Jordan Maxwell's name was an important name. I mean, he was a precursor to all of us, me, Alex Jones, David Icke. So I think it's very important that next week you follow us, because we will have a few things to tell you about what's happening behind the scenes. And in the meantime, we pass to part 2, so then we can show you the latest scandal in the Vatican. Guys, we have a video, but I can't show it to you on YouTube and Facebook. No, I can't show it to you on YouTube. So please, guys, tune in for part 2 of this show now on X and Rumble. Thank you again for supporting us. The sponsors today, Christy?
Bruce Kodish and David R. Kemmerer and Malgorzata Minta. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very much. And
everybody who bought the book, thank you very much.
Absolutely. And here we go with Vincenzo Viceversa Media Goal. That's the guy who also does all our book covers, and they're really extraordinary, all of them. But he's also an artist who does some great music, and the visuals are from our friend Albert from Telepandemia. We see you for part 2 on X and Rumble.
In that time, our world has taken so many steps in the wrong direction. In the negative utopia, science, technology, social organization, dehumanization, in the negative utopia, science,